cursive. Slide on the right time, feeling some nervous. You know, on my side, I could say love was broken. Ride when I need you, man, it's the purpose. Taking what I need, man, diamonds be hurting. Slide for me, but I didn't say it's worth it. Not saying you deserve it. Saying this the only way is working. Mistreated, I can see you not the only one hurting. Give me some reasons you concerned to disown it. Plan on trying to get you to focus. I'm telling that you knowing it's my passion broken. Just tell me who stole it. If I'm gonna be chosen, it's a reason I ain't seem to notice. Can't believe my heart is stolen. On my knees, God, give a token. Playing the game high as hell, World 3 smoking. You not by my side, I guess you be hoeing. Knowing I got nobody else, I picked the chosen. Seem like you like the rest, IG pick scrolling. Double tapping them pics, gotta show me in person. I can fuck your life up just here, where you going? But if you pick that red pill, baby, you chosen. Come ride with some robbers, just don't mind your shit is stolen. It's not mine, my brother, hold it. Slip in a pocket, you don't even know it. Just roll it, spark the wood, I'm choking. Niggas trip like bitches in heels, why I keep on smoking? Anthony, missing Charlene, but I keep my focus. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I ain't seen the notice. Late nights, think about how I show no emotion. Hits me at night when I'm nightly smoking. Pressing on the beat, but never showing person. Think I'm gonna miss you.
There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that. It is 6:30. It is Friday night. Yes, I do look like a stir-fried dog mash, so I do apologize for my appearance. It is now that time for that fantasy show. I am Ciozi. I'm the guy that's going to be running the show for you today, and let's get into some fantasy football. First and foremost, I do want to give a shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings and Trophy Smack. Due to COVID, you know, a lot of the actual Buffalo Wild Wings had actually stopped doing their actual fantasy draft parties. I actually went Sunday, just chilled out and did a few drafts myself. One of the actual bartenders kind of put me on and let me know that they still do the draft kits. So I actually got one of them, and they actually come with championship rings now, and they're actually from Trophy Smack. So I would say if you are going to get if you are still doing drafts or setting up drafts, put B-Dubs back on the map because they're actually doing their thing. They actually make sure you actually have a good setup. They come with individual draft papers, big draft poster, stickers, and things like that. So besides, I'll probably say it's a good little thing to set up if you actually want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings to actually get some to do your draft party. So again, shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for doing that for me. So let's start getting to some headlines first. So everybody knows yesterday was one of the start-offs for fantasy football. It was week 1. And the matchup was between the Chiefs and the actual Baltimore Ravens. Not Buffalo. Baltimore Ravens, excuse me. I will say this. If you don't have Xavier Worthy on your fantasy squad, if he is available, I would seriously pick him up. And the reason I say this, and I'm sure everybody's been watching ESPN and hearing how he's compared to the next Tyreek Hill and things like that. The reason I say this is because, one, if you watch that game, you've seen that a lot of the actual attention was to Travis Kelce. Kelce didn't have a lot of yards. Kelce didn't have a lot of impact in the game. So what I would say is that once I do believe they found their deep ball person, they found their Tyreek Hill. So I would say that Mahomes is going to be a little bit more dangerous. So if you have Mahomes as a quarterback, not Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy, and if you have either Travis Kelce, I would actually make sure they are guaranteed starters. Because once they really kind of get their schemes going, I can see this kid having breakout games. He had a breakout game this season, this game. But once they actually consider how they make him as a weapon, because you got to remember when Tyreek Hill first came into the actual league, Tyreek Hill wasn't Tyreek Hill. He was kind of going through the same ins and outs as he was with Xavier Worthy. So I would definitely look at grabbing Xavier Worthy if he's available in fantasy leagues. I highly doubt it, but if he is, grab him when you get a chance. Now I will say this about the Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry is going to carry that team. It's going to be Derrick Henry and it's going to be Lamar Jackson. They're going to carry that team. You might have a good game between, say, from Flowers from time to time. You might have a good game from Bateman from time to time, depending on how free they get. But they need a breakout receivers, and I say this very seriously because right now with Baltimore, the thing that's going to affect them is their middle game. They have tight ends to where you have Lightly, you also have Jackson. They have actual running. They actually have wide receiver tight ends that's going to cover the middle game. You also have Derrick Henry that's going to run that ground game. What you don't have is that breakout receiver. You don't have that receiver. They don't have that receiver that's going to actually blow the doors open. Now they might have it in Ted. They might have it in Tez. They might have it in I don't know. Compared to the next few weeks, you might have a few breakout games, but nothing to solidify. So I will probably say with Baltimore, the way they played, I think that's going to be their biggest issue because you don't have that breakout player. You don't have that breakout receiver. You have everything covered from the middle game up. You have potentials in running backs, but you don't have that deep threat. And I think that's what's missing in Baltimore's game. They're talking about, we just, we slammed, we did this, we did that. They won't be the same team further down the line. Well, we'll see about that. So I would definitely give it to that. The other headlines that we have going on, like I said, we have Friday night's game tonight between the Packers and the Eagles in Mexico, which is going to be pretty interesting. If you have Peacock, good for you. If you don't, watch it on SportsCenter. That's the only thing I can say. Either watch it on you're watching the highlights on SportsCenter, or tomorrow morning you'll be watching it on NFL Network as a replay. So this would actually be pretty interesting. So I'm sure everybody that has Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Green, Devontae Smith, I'm sure you probably have Jordan Love. It's going to be interesting because I think this is going to go past the actual ground game. Whoever ground game is actually working is going to win this game because, granted, Philly has those deep threats in A.J. Brown, in Devontae Smith, and quiet as kept, you have it in Jahan Dotson. So if Jahan Dotson finds his actual rhythm or his place in this group, he could be the difference maker. He could be that X factor. So I'm not saying it to actually grab Jahan Dotson automatically. If you do have him, I'll keep him on the bench to see how he is for that one game and for the first two games. And if he actually starts becoming more consistent, then go ahead and put him as a flex. But other than that, that's the only thing that I will probably say on that. With the Packers, you get to see Josh Jacobs, and he's gonna be a key factor. Because if if the Packers can actually elevate their running game because of them getting rid of A.J. Dillon and then replace him for Josh Jacobs, that's going to be a difference maker. So, I mean, you probably got somebody a little bit younger, a little bit more stronger, a little bit more faster. So we'll definitely see how he affects the actual play on that. But I wouldn't really, like I said, week one is kind of like kind of like a dress rehearsal. I would still say a dress rehearsal. I mean, it's football. Everybody will give it their all, but you had these players to where, okay, they're going to have that breakout game and they're going to, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And when they do, everybody's put them on their fantasy. I give it between 2 weeks. If you do have them and if you do start them and if you get lucky with a few of those, I will say good for you. But I would look at it on a consistent basis. So that is going to be an interesting game. I give it to the Eagles. Eagles, I will give it. Well, last night I had Baltimore winning by 10. It reversed on me. It was because I figured Derrick Henry would actually be the key person for the Baltimore play team. That would actually give the Chiefs trouble. Unfortunately, he wasn't that guy that gave the Chiefs trouble. So it just looks at when I look at Baltimore, yeah, that's what I see in Baltimore. With the Eagles, we're going to see if they can actually, because they ended in a slump, now they're going to pick themselves back up. Now that you actually have that running game with a premier back, and with Saquon Barkley, this is going to be different for him because he actually has weapons besides himself. So this is going to be very, very interesting. If you do have Saquon Barkley, I would definitely start him today because I do believe Saquon is going to have a breakout game because it's going to be one of those feelings to where you got a new toy. So you actually, he's probably going to have that chance to have those open lanes to where he didn't have when he was in New York. He's going to have those chances to get balls thrown at him to where he has more field to run at because he has more weapons spread out the field. So this might be a breakout game for Saquon Barkley. Between AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, I can see them. I can see one or two. I can see either one going deep for a nice deep pass. I can see one being consistency for a few catches. I can even see Jahan Dotson probably getting a few catches and probably getting a few deep balls, depending on the defense of Green Bay. But I do see the Eagles winning that game as well. Now, going with the week one, we do have a few headlines. One of those is Russell Wilson is still undecided on his status. Now, to be honestly, with this actual headline, I would bet if you have Russell Wilson, bitch him. If you have Fields, bitch him. I don't think that either one of those players are going to be the breakout player for this week, especially since they're playing the Atlanta Falcons. So with that, on that behalf, I would actually hold off playing any one of those two guys. If you have them, they better be on your bench, keeping it warm for everybody else. I'm gonna be honest. Also, Jamar Chase is still a game time decision per his contract. This one, it's kind of. I don't want to say bench Jamar Chase, but if you have other weapons, I would actually consider just holding off because even if he does play, is he going to be at the actual condition? So that's one I would actually stay away from. Now, Josh Downs, he's actually out for today. He's out for Sunday's game against the Tennessee Titans. No, not the Titans. Who is he playing? He's playing the Texans. And that's kind of sad because with the Texans and honestly between Tennessee and Indianapolis, they usually have good shootouts. So if you have anybody on that game, whether it was Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Jason Taylor, Jonathan Taylor. I'm just all over the place with names. I am sorry today. Jason Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, excuse me. Michael Pitts. And because Downs is out, you probably have Alec Pierce probably starting over. They usually do a shootout. So, like I said, if you're having between Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud, I would definitely start those two because usually, like I said, whenever these teams play, it seems to be like an old Western shootout. So it's going to be a high scoring game. But with Josh Downs being hurt, it could actually affect the way the game is played because if you look how Josh Downs play, he's kind of like that. Like I said, that Wes Welker, that Eric Decker kind of player. To where if you need that actual, he's going to get a lot of catches for little yards. So you have that if you're in a PPR league with, like I said, with Josh Downs, he's that player that you kind of want as a flex because he's going to give you that actual, what's the word? Like I said, he's going to give you the actual points. He's going to give you the catches. He's going to get a few yards here. So he might have 5 catches for 50 yards. He might have 10 catches for 100 yards. He might have 6 catches for 100 yards. Either way, he's that guy that's getting that catch from time to time. So with him being out, like I said, it's going to go to another person. So it'll probably be more like Alec Pierce. Big injuries on going through. I don't see Josh Downs being that type of person to where you need to, he's either going to be your flex or that emergency wide receiver too. And right now, I don't see that him being a big issue for anybody because other than that, like I said, he's either on your bench or he's a flex to where you can kind of replace him right then and there. Now, I do want to get into shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. I am running through these. I'm used to having a loudmouth with me, so he would actually help me with it. I get his point of view. He's not on yet, so when he comes in, we'll actually bring him in. But right now, it's one of those things to where I do want to get into. Like I said, I definitely got all into Thursday night's game, the Sunday nights, and Friday game. But what I do want to bring up is that if you do need help, here's my lineup that we have for this week. So I actually had to bring in who he wanted to have started, and I compared who I wanted to have started. So my starting lineup, I have, these I think are going to be the high scoring players. I have Caleb Willis, quarterback. They're playing Tennessee. I also have Saquon Barkley, again, they're playing Buffalo for wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2, I do have DeAndre Swift because I do feel as though, again, he's going to have that same Saquon Barkley situation to where the field is spread out. So he's going to get he's going to have a lot of open runs, a lot of open pass runs. So I do think Swift is going to be another one that's going to get a chance. My wide receiver 1, I do have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're playing the Browns. I mean, not the Browns. They're playing the Rams. And right now, I just don't see the Rams being any type of defensive threat. Unless Aaron Donald decides to come out of retirement, I don't see anything of that coming through. I do also have Devontae Adams. They're playing the Chargers. And then I also have Kyle Pitts. I do think with Kirk Cousins playing, Kyle Pitts will have a breakout game, especially if they're playing the Steelers. And I see anything bad about the Steelers, but I do feel as though that when it comes to their defense, they do leave the field open. I feel as though Kyle Pitts will get a lot of open mid-range catches, especially with somebody with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. Flex, I do have Justin Jefferson. Granted, he does have Sam Darnold, but I do feel as though Sam Darnold will actually elevate with the actual Minnesota Vikings. The reason I do say that is because you always have to remember his past few teams. One was with the originally he was with the Jets, didn't have anybody at the time. Got traded to he was traded to the Rams. From the Rams, let's see what the hell. Sorry about that, y'all. Some reason my system is kind of acting BS. So go back to the list. So right now I do have, like I said, I do have Kyle Pitts. I have Justin Jefferson. I do have Justin Jefferson as a flex because with Sam Darnold, I don't know if he's going to have those impact games, but he will have a solid game because with Sam Darnold, he now has a weapon that he can play with. That's the reason I have him. Defense, I have the Saints. Quiet as kept. New Orleans have always had a good backfield, and now that you have somebody like, I do think Chase Young will get a wake-up call because he's not home. He had that run with the 49ers to where he actually has some championship experience. So I think he's going to bring that to the Saints. I'm not saying that the Saints will be that team, that awesome team, but I do feel as though that you might be surprised with their defense this year. So I do say either pick the Saints or I would say the Bears, especially with playing with Tennessee, because with Tennessee, like I said, we don't know how their running game is going to be. It's going to be, I think we got a lot of throws, so I think they're going to be rushing the quarterback a lot. And with Chicago, with Montez Sweat on that end, and then you have Booker on the other end, and then you still have Savage as your receiver, as your tight end. Shout out to Simone Biles and her husband. But I do see to where I think the Bears, I will actually either start the Bears defense or the Saints defense. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, with JT, what he has Josh Allen as QB, which I'm not going to hate about that. He's playing the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know how the Cardinals defense is going to be this year. Like I said, especially with the change that's been made. So we'll definitely see if Josh Allen takes advantage of that. Also, he's like with me, he has Barkley. For running back, he has Najee Harris. Tight end, he had Kelsey playing for last night. Kelsey didn't do too well. He also has Brandon Ayuk. He has Marvin Harrison, which I think Harrison will have a breakout game. For flex, he has Dalton Kincaid, and then for the defense, he has the Detroit Lions. The Lions are playing the Rams, so I can understand why he has the Rams. For the simple fact that I question that. Because you still have Cooper Kupp, you still have Puka Nacua, you still have Kyron Williams. So that offense is going to be something to be looked at. I don't know if and it's a Sunday night game. So we'll definitely see if that actual defense is worthwhile waking up, if they're going to wake up and make some points. But we'll do it at the end of each. So what we'll do next week, we'll take our players from our lineups and we'll see who scored the most points for that week. Again, JT has actually said if the Bears do not win 5 games, he said no. The Bears have to win 5 games. If the Bears win 5 games, and I need y'all to actually root for this because we need JT to see how he runs this 40. He's been talking this trash for years. First, it was till he can run a sub 5. He can run a sub 540. Now he's saying he can run a sub 740. I just want to see this fool run a 40. I want to see how he runs his 40. I would love to see him. If anybody agrees with me, I want to see him do it in a Superman. I want to do him in a Superman costume, and it would be something his brother would crack up since his brother's a Superman fan and he's a Batman fan. So we got to give some type of punishment for basically assuming that the Bears would suck this bad. So we're definitely wanting to see how that turns out. Trying to see what else because I am running through these, so I do apologize if I'm talking too fast and anything else. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, hit that subscribe button so that way I can at least let everybody know what's going on with that fantasy show and how everything's turning out. Again, we will we will keep you posted about how we're doing our fantasy lineups or how we compare for each week. So that's going to be something good to look at as well. One thing I do want to give a shout out to, if y'all heard the actual music, shout out to my nephew, Deron. That was him, his first single, Cursive. So if you're on Netflix, if you're on Spotify, YouTube, you can actually download the single. It's called Cursive. I do appreciate him for letting me use this for my opening theme. So shout out to Deron. Appreciate you, bro. Love you. Y'all take it. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing out there in Vegas. And again, that's like I said, I'm running through this real quick, so I do apologize. But wow. But again, as I did state, if you do have any questions, you can with fantasy football. If you have any questions regarding your lineups, please hit us up on the actual fantasy website, and not website, on Facebook on that fantasy show. Also, leave your comments as well on the actual feedback. So if you have any questions, we'll bring those up to the next week, next streamline as well. So I'm going to give it. I'm going to go and give it a shot. Call today. Give it a shout out to everybody that's actually listening. That's listen through this. I appreciate y'all. The net. I'm going to go and take this early. Again, don't forget your lineups. Don't forget that subscribe button. And y'all take it easy. Other than that, peace.